All right, everyone, buckle up because we are diving headfirst into some seriously critical cybersecurity vulnerabilities today.
Definitely urgent stuff.
Straight from a CISA alert, we're talking vulnerabilities that are actively being exploited right now.
Out in the wild.
Exactly, out in the wild. So this is not theoretical. This is happening, and we are going to break it down, give you the actionable insights you need to protect your systems.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
So the alert focuses on two major systems that are probably familiar to a lot of you, Microlab and Oracle WebLogic Server,
Both pretty widely used.
and both with some pretty scary vulnerabilities. Let's start with Microlab. There are two big ones we need to talk about. The first is CVE 2024-41713T, and this one's got a CVSS score of 9.1. So yeah, pretty high.
Sets off alarm bells.
Yeah, it allows unauthenticated remote attackers to exploit a path traversal flaw.
So basically, they can gain access to parts of the system they shouldn't be able to reach.
Right, so think about it, Microlab. It's a communication hub for organizations.
Mm-hmm.
Email, voice calls, video conferencing, the whole shebang.
If an attacker gets in through this vulnerability, they could potentially compromise the entire system.
Exactly. We're talking data breaches, eavesdropping on calls, even manipulating calls potentially.
That's the worst case scenario, but definitely possible.
And to make matters worse, there's another vulnerability, CVE 2024-55550.
Yeah, this one on its own might not seem as bad. It lets attackers read local files.
But here's the kicker.
When you combine it with that first vulnerability, that path traversal flaw,
They basically have a roadmap to all your sensitive data.
they can use the first one to get where they want, then the second one to access the data.
Exactly, a one-two punch that no one wants to deal with.
Yeah,
The good news, though, is that Mattel has already released patches for both of these vulnerabilities.
so there is a fix available.
Yep, upgrading to Microlab 9.8 SP2 9.8.2.12 or later is absolutely crucial.
The sooner the better with these kinds of vulnerabilities.
Absolutely. All right, now let's switch gears and talk about Oracle WebLogic Server, and specifically CVE 2020-2883.
Now, this one's been around for a while.
Yeah, you might think, oh, that's old news. But guess what? It's still being actively exploited.
It's on CISA's known exploited vulnerabilities catalog for a reason.
Exactly, and this one has a CVSS score of 9.8.
Even higher than the Microlab ones.
And it allows for unauthenticated access via the T3 protocol.
That's a big problem.
Huge problem.
And it really highlights this key point that patching is not a one-time thing.
Oh, absolutely. You can't just patch something and then forget about it.
Nope. Vulnerabilities from years ago can still come back to bite you if they're not addressed.
Exactly. So this emphasizes the need for continuous vigilance for a really strong vulnerability management program.
Absolutely, staying on top of those patches is essential.
Okay, so let's zoom out a bit and talk about the broader impact of these vulnerabilities.
We're talking data breaches, system takeovers, malware, spreading like wildfire.
And in the case of Microlab, we've got the added threat of eavesdropping and call manipulation on VoIP systems.
Those are some serious consequences.
CISA has laid out some pretty specific recommendations for how to mitigate these threats, and I want to tailor those to our expert audience here.
Okay, let's hear them.
So naturally, patching is paramount. I got to patch those systems ASAP. But we also need to think beyond just patching.
Right, we need to be proactive.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So robust input validation is key to prevent those path traversal attacks.
Basically making sure that the application is only accepting the data it's supposed to.
Exactly. It's like putting up extra defenses at the application level.
Strong access controls and the principle of least privilege are also crucial.
Absolutely. Only give users the access they absolutely need to do their jobs.
Right, limit the potential damage an attacker can cause.
And of course, intrusion detection systems and thorough logging are a must.
So you can quickly identify and contain a breach if one does happen.
Right. Rapid response can make all the difference.
Makes sense.
Now, CISA has actually set a deadline of January 28, 2025 for federal agencies to patch these vulnerabilities.
Part of DoD 22-11.
Yeah, but honestly, every organization should make patching these a top priority, regardless of any deadline.
Absolutely. It's about protecting your data, your reputation, everything.
Now, for organizations that are in really tough situations, maybe they can't patch immediately for whatever reason.
Happens sometimes.
CISA does mention temporarily disabling WebLogic's T3 protocol as a mitigation step.
It's a Band-Aid solution, though.
Yeah, not a long-term fix.
Right. You're basically just buying yourself some time to implement a proper patch.
Exactly. And, these vulnerabilities really highlight a much bigger challenge in cybersecurity, that we need to shift from reactive to proactive security.
It's not enough to just respond to threats as they come up.
We need to anticipate them and get ahead of them.
Which brings up an interesting question. How can organizations improve their proactive vulnerability management and patching processes?
Big question, right?
It's complex, there's no easy answer, but it's something we all need to be thinking about and working toward.
Absolutely, because the persistence of older vulnerabilities like
Hmm.
CVE 2020-2883, it shows just how crucial those robust proactive security measures really are.
It's an ongoing challenge.
It is. But as cybersecurity experts, we have to stay vigilant, stay informed, stay ahead of the curve.
Couldn't agree more.
This deep dive has just scratched the surface of this evolving threat landscape.
There's always more to learn and more to do.
So keep those systems secure out there, everyone.
Stay safe.
And until next time, stay vigilant.
We'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.